Hello, ZPA community. It is Mark McDonald here, and we have our kickoff, our 10 p.m. Eastern Time weekly Share It and Build It. And you know who joins me on this? One of the most powerful health pros of all time, one of the greatest moms, wives, and just entrepreneur, who's a dear friend of mine, and she even corrects me during my Facebook Lives, which I love that she did tonight. Renita Brandon. Renita, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. I actually did that behind the scenes. I texted that to you, didn't I? I hope I didn't put that on the wall. I thought I'm going to do it silently so he knows and just let him know. You know me, Mark.
I have no problem being corrected. I love it. We were talking about Truvia, and she said, don't recommend Truvia, do stevia only. So, but that's how we roll. We always can be corrected on everything. And we also want to give a special shout out to Bonnie, who you see here if you watch. She's the little red thing in the bottom there. Bonnie manages all of the ZP8 group. She does an incredible job. She's with us every Monday night. I don't think I thank her enough, but Bonnie Schrader, we love you. We thank you and appreciate you. So if you see Bonnie or you do a post, just say, hey, thanks, Bonnie.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Bonnie. We love you, Bonnie.
So last week was great. We really talked about each week when we keep thinking about we're building upon. So this week we wanted to focus on scheduling, where it's really about how to optimize your schedule. Well, last week we talked about overcoming objections, and we've really focused on when someone's talking about money. And if you missed that, make sure you go to the Facebook page, just facebook.com/ZenProject8. You can watch that video. All the videos that we stream every Monday night here at Hangouts.ZenProject8 is on the Facebook page. So if you haven't liked that page, it's facebook.com/ZenProject8. Different than the group, it's the actual page. And this will be restreamed tomorrow. So every week you can watch these videos. So if you missed last week, watch it. This week, it's all about schedule. And I know we don't like schedules. Before we go in and we talk about some of the challenges we all have with scheduling, let me give you a couple updates. So first off, Renita, do you like to sleep?
I like to sleep. I'm a big believer in getting great sleep, and I saw your latest blog, and I was fired up about it, Mark.
Well, let's all remember you are what you metabolize. And we talk so much about food and fitness and products and cutting edge science that we forget about one of the most important things ever, and that's your sleep. So we wanted to do a blog, and we launched this last week. This week's all about how to live ZP8 as an athlete, this blog that's going to come out this week. But last week, when we talk about sleeping, there's three things. If you missed this, you just go to Jeunesse.global.com, click on blogs. It's there. We also posted it in the group, and I'll add it to the pin post. But first off, the power of 90 minutes, understanding about sleep. And this is one of the biggest things I want everyone who's watching, everyone who's sharing ZP8 and building ZP8 to realize. We are not telling people to do more. Our whole message is become better at what you do. You're already sleeping. Maximize the time you're sleeping. So you understand the power of 90. You then start realizing that balanced hormones equals a leaner and lighter body. And we talk about three hormones. Ghrelin, which is that hormones produced by your stomach. It stimulates your hunger. Leptin's produced in your fat cells and tells your bodies when you're full. This is one of the big reasons we made Zen Shape.
I love it.
Shape with Well Trim helps balance your leptin hormone. So these are just there's science behind to help all of the avenues that matter. And then as Renita talked about, the 5 strategies. And my favorite one is this snooze button one, where once you understand the power of 90, every minute that you sleep after you hit that snooze button is useless sleep. So if you just want to lay and chill, go for it. But as we talk about scheduling tonight, you may want to change that thought process. So ideally, if you want quality sleep, if you're waking up, you hit that alarm goes off and you stay in bed for 20 minutes, simply extend your alarm by 20 minutes and get that 20 minutes of quality sleep and then get up when it goes off. Renita, do you hit the snooze button?
Never. I fly out of bed in the morning. Like I literally fly out of bed. And in fact, I've been down in Arizona and I haven't used an alarm. I've just waken up right. I mean, I don't even use an alarm most times. It's like this internal clock that I have that when it's time to get up, my body knows. And I've always thought the snooze button was kind of worthless, to be honest with you, Mark. I always think that it's an interrupted sleep. So when you hit the snooze button, those next 5, 7, 8, 10 minutes, whatever it's set to, it's never really that great anyway, because you're anticipating it going off again. So I always am like, let's just get up and be productive and go for it. So I usually don't use the snooze button, but I know like a lot of people use the snooze button. And I'm like, I would just rather set my alarm a little bit later if you have to set an alarm than set it too early and hit the snooze button 5 times. I just think that's worthless.
Yeah. Well, that's why I love you, Renita, because you're like my idol. Like, you're the person I strive for, because I love the snooze button, and I realized once I understood sleep, I can't use it anymore. So like, you just jump up, but I realized that. So I don't use the snooze button either. And if I do make a conscious choice to just kind of chill with baby Hope or hang with Hunter, I realize it doesn't count. So you just don't want that to be your sleep. Now, before we dive into the topic tonight, one more thing I want to share. We get questions on this all the time, and it's about food. Now, this is why I just did a Facebook Live. If you missed it, it's right here in the group, and it's all just about how 10 foods that are flavor packed to spice up your ZP8 meals and shakes. If you missed it, I share my top 10. I'm inviting every single person in the group to share one of their favorite free foods, and then one of their favorite foods that have like protein, fat, or carb in it. Like I do coconut oil, coconut flakes, great source of fat. But this mixes it up because food boredom. And then when you also look at this, if you simply go, and I'm going to show you under photos, and Bonnie put these all under albums, you have all of these great recipes to dive into. So just make sure as you're rocking it or you're sharing it, because we don't want people sharing or building ZP8 to feel like they have to be a health expert or a coach. You can simply leverage the tools, and you have so many things. So if someone says, I'm bored with my food, hey, check out this video, because all of the videos that every week Facebook Live is right under videos. Hey, I need a new recipe. Try this recipe. So just kind of get in the habit of that. Anything you want to add to that, Renita?
No, I love this tool though. Every single person that I put in the Zen Project 8, every single person, whether it's a customer or a distributor, I show them this website. I show them these recipes. I show them the photos, because I think this is a powerful, powerful, powerful tool. And I really love that it's just categorized in here so simply: detox, ignite, thrive. I mean, there's just no confusion. And I feel like in most programs, there's a lot of confusion. And that's something that we've done, is not only simplify the process with the great ZP8 booklets, but also with these just very cut and dry meal ideas that literally are labeled detox, ignite, thrive. And it's very helpful to everybody watching when you do post a recipe, when you hashtag detox or hashtag ignite. I think that's very helpful for a group setting when people are just kind of combing through, looking for new ideas, looking, like you said, for great recipes, ways to spice it up or whatever. I think that it's really helpful. I really feel like this group is teamwork makes the dream work, baby. Everyone's helping one another, so I love it.
Yeah, and this is what we talk so much about, sharing and building. And as you share and build, it's all about tools. And we talked about that every single time. Every one of these webcasts, we're going to spend about a couple of minutes on the tools. So that's your teaching from there. The sleep log, and then the Facebook Live we just did, and then the recipes. Leverage these things. Now let's talk about content tonight. And these are bite-sized. So, our goal, Renita and I, our goal is to go about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and really have this done by no later than 10:30 Eastern time, but give you a nugget of information. We did overcoming objections last week. This is all about scheduling. And there's 3 main strategies I want to share with you. And what's going to be cool about this is I share how I'm doing it. Renita's going to share how she's doing it. So you're starting to see that. And I'd love you to be taking notes throughout this process. And there's no way that I'm a scheduling expert, I'll tell you that, but I'm a work in progress. And what I've realized is that the tighter I get at my schedule, and the more people that I'm able to communicate with, and the more successful people I see and how they manage their time, it gets better. And this is why I want everyone to write down. The greatest commodity that you have is the energy that you give. Okay, so it's not about time management, it's going to be about energy management. And as you start scheduling better, you will start maximizing your energy. Because we give a lot of negative energy or just wasted energy places, or unuseful energy too soon in the day, that then deteriorates us. And we'll have good examples. So the first thing is this. First strategy is this: understanding the main parts of your life. So I want you all, everyone watching, whether it's replay or live, to list out 4 to 5 parts of your life. I'm going to share mine. Renita is going to share hers. So my parts of my life, I categorize it on this. I have work as one part. This isn't in order, but this is just the parts of my life. I have work. I then am going to have my health. I have my downtime, lifestyle stuff. So, hanging out with Hope, watching a movie with the family, doing something, just going for a walk walk for casual. So it's not my exercise, but it's just, I call it family/downtime. And that's my lifestyle stuff. And then my fourth part is actually my schedule with my kids. You know, when I didn't have kids, I didn't have that, but Hunter's a big soccer player. I just know Bo's a big track athlete. All your kids play, Renita. So part of my scheduling is, you know, taking him to keeper training at times when Abby and I alternate with that. So my 4 compartments are that. I have my work, I have my health, I have my lifestyle, family, downtime, and then I have my kids schedule. And that's how I operate. So you first start with what are the 4 main parts of your life, basically, that you leverage. Now, our other strategy will start breaking that down. But your first assignment is to lay out what are those 4 parts. Now, if you have 8 parts, you're in trouble. So really stick it to 4, maybe 5. But if you lay it out, Mark, I got 10. That's you already know the problem there. So,
someone's losing, baby.
Yes, you got to start deciding what really matters. So really get tight. What matters for you and lay out those things. Renita, what are your 4 to 5 parts of life?
You know, it's very close to what you're saying, Mark. I mean, it's definitely work. And in me, I have my Zen lifestyle and teaching people about Jeunesse and the amazing products and program that we have. But I also teach a couple classes at SkyFit. So that's kind of another category of work. But I mean, that we can all classify that into work. Definitely family time, because that's so important. I think sometimes I have a tendency to be a workaholic, Mark, and I think probably you do too. So if we don't plan it, we're probably not doing it as often as much as we need to do it. So definitely family time, which is kind of a leisure time, whether it be going to the movies, going out to eat, I mean, whatever, we're planning that in our household. And then of course, you said it, you nailed it, kids, athletics. I mean, many times Scott and I are conquering and dividing. We've got track, we've got basketball, we've got music, we've got so many extracurriculars going on. Plus we homeschool, Mark, you know this about us. So that, I mean, whether it's education or extracurricular, that has to be written into my schedule, because if it's not, forget about it. And then I would definitely say, I feel like my health is definitely a priority, but I really try to make my health interactive with the kids. So I'm not the mom that necessarily goes to the gym and exercises for 2 hours. I usually take my kids with me is what I do. So, which is nice because the kids come along with me. So it's kind of a family time, but another huge component for me is definitely my faith walk, whether it be volunteering, giving back in my community. I do a lot every single week, just giving back for free, whether it's presentations at schools or for the Girl Scouts of America or volunteering at my church. So I feel like that faith component or that kind of servant giving back area is another probably one that maybe you didn't talk about, what you do an awful lot of, Mark, but you just didn't talk about it.
But so from the point, if we look at your 4 main things, you have your work, and then that's our second strategy. We'll start breaking down each part, but you have your work, you have your health, you have your family, and your faith. That's where you'd break it down. Perfect. So Renita, like that's everyone's first strategy is to break down. You got to lump it into 4, get it to 4 parts. Now, I did a Facebook Live last week about balance. Our goal tonight is not for you to live this perfect world of balance, because that doesn't exist, but it's understanding when you have those 4 parts, how to go back and forth. So let's go to the second strategy. I'll do one and you'll do one of yours, Renita. Okay. So this is your second strategy. Once you know your first strategy, what are your 4 parts of life, okay, that you're going to spend your time and energy in? And then now we got to start breaking down each one. So in each one of those categories, you have to say how many hours a week are you going to focus on that? So for example, work, if you're working 8 hours and you're working 5 days, then that's going to be 40 hours. So you have to start breaking down each part by the hours you're going to be spending. And then based upon that, what are you doing in those hours? So let's look at this. So I'm going to do health for me. Or what do you want to do, Renita? Do you want to do health or work?
I'll do work. I'll do health.
So health for me is I focus on, out of 7 days a week, I want 15 hours of health work for me. That's for me, I need to invest 15 hours of my weekly energy on health. And the way I do that is I schedule that every single morning. So I look at that every Friday night when I'm in town. I play futsal soccer. So I play for two games. So that's about 2.5 hours of my time. Another time during the week or weekend, I'll do skies or an indoor trampoline with Hunter. So that will be 2 hours. So right there, out of my 15 hours, I have the days Friday and Sunday. I do that. And it's basically, that's 5 hours of my energy for exercise. So now I got to make up 10 hours. So I know that I need to do weights 2 to 3 days a week. So I go Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I do my 30 minutes of weights, and each one of those are followed by 60 minutes of cardio. And then I follow, and then, so that's right there is going to be an hour and a half, 3 hours. So I have 5 hours plus the 3 hours of cardio is 8 hours plus the weight. So I'm at 10 hours right now. And then the other 5 hours is family activity, walking, running with them, playing soccer, doing stuff, going on a bike ride, taking the dogs. I lump that all in, and and Abby and I work each week, and then we coordinate it. So our goal as a family, Hunter has different, but 15 hours of exercise in for my health. That's not including my meal prep time. That's not including that. So basically, when I look at it, I schedule it. I look at when am I going to make my meals, when am I going to grocery shop, and I set up my schedule. So I look at, okay, 15 hours for exercise, 10 hours for food, and then throughout the week, I set up what are my 25 hours that I'm investing in my food and my exercise each and every week. That's my invitation to each of you. Look at how many hours you're spending on each part and then break it down. So when you look at it, you know what you're doing. You know what time you're doing it and when you're doing it. Now, if you have a sick kid or life shows up or you're traveling, then you adjust each and every week. And I'm going to share how to do that in the third strategy. But the most important thing is we're not spending our time and energy with a purpose. The goal of tonight is to teach you, get your life organized in the sense of what are the main parts, and then how are you going to honor each one of those parts to maximize them. Okay, Renita, you talk about your work.
Okay, so for me, like I probably work about 30 hours a week. When I look at it, you know, I'm a network marketing professional, so the beauty of my work is I can do it from anywhere and really when I want. But when I look at that 30 hour, 20, let's say 30 hours of work a week, 5 hours of that I'm teaching SkyFit classes for sure. So I got to mark that off the schedule. And those are just concrete times every single week. So that's super simple. And then I have about 3 days a week where I have 3 hours a week where I have clients. So now we're up to 8 hours. So now I have 22 other hours where I'm really going to work my Jeunesse Zen Project 8 business. And so I know I have a Wednesday night meeting. Every single Wednesday night for 10 years, I've had a Wednesday night meeting, and that by the time it's done, it's probably 2 hours long, Mark. But it's, I mean, I try to get it to 6:30 to 7:30, but by the time people come and visit and people leave, it's 2 hours of my evening on a Wednesday night. In addition to that, I try to do probably 3 conference calls or webinars or Zoom meetings with my team in other parts of the country. Last week I was doing a Zoom meeting with somebody in Iraq, or Australia or wherever the team is. So I try to do 3 of those a week, and I just block off an hour for each one of those. So if we're doing the math on this, so far we're up to what? Probably about 13, 14 hours. I would say probably 5 to 7 of my hours each week is just out there looking for new prospects, being on the internet, being on Facebook, looking for people that are looking. You know, many times that's on Facebook. I'm kind of just scrolling through, see what people need, not just so I can strike, but just so I can kind of say, hey, how's it going for you? I see that, you know, you're struggling. You're frustrated on Facebook, expressing that you've tried another weight loss program and you've gained the weight back. You know, that actually is my sweet spot. I love to help people with that. If there's ever a time that you'd love to visit about it, just know that I'm here to help you. So for me, it's kind of seeking those people. So probably 5 to 7 hours a week, I'm doing that. I do a lot of sampling in my own community. So whether it's taking a shake to somebody, running somebody a Zen Fit, that all takes time, right? Because you're running across town to drop something off. I'd say in a week's time, that's probably 5 hours of that. And then just interacting with people. You know, I feel like throughout the day, I probably could get a little bit better, Mark, to be honest with you, at time blocking when I answer my phone, because I'm kind of like you. We answer our phone a lot. We respond back to text messages a lot. I would say I do.
Well, I don't answer my phone, but I do respond to text messages.
Yeah, I feel like I don't answer my phone as much anymore, as unless somebody says, I need to talk to you and I need you right now, Renita.
Exactly.
Okay, that's pressing. I'll call them right away. But most people, I can respond with a text message and be just fine. But I would say all in all, throughout every day of the week when I'm just kind of interacting, I'm doing that, it's probably at least 5 to 7 hours of text messages that I'm just responding back and forth to. And some people might think that's a lot, but it's not in one sitting. You know what I mean? It might be 2 minutes here. It might be 5 minutes there where I'm going back and forth with somebody. So I kind of feel like with as far as texting, I feel like eats up a little bit more of my time than I would like it to. But some of those things in my schedule are very set in stone, which I think that we need to do that as entrepreneurs, because if not, I mean, if you're not in control of your schedule's in control of you, right? And so I feel like we got to get control of our schedule by time blocking, whether it's those one-on-ones, like every follow-up Friday. Every Friday, you're going to follow up with everybody that you contacted during the week, right? Make it happen Monday. Maybe Monday's the day where you go out and you get some contacts and you say, I'm going to spend 2 hours today looking for people that are looking, whether it's on Facebook, at the mall, wherever, right? So if you kind of, for me, I've been doing better at that, at saying, I'm going to spend on Thursdays from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock to get in touch with my leaders on my team to make sure that they know that they're in the know, and if they have any questions that need to be answered, that I can help them out. So I feel like if we don't time block, our days really get away from us. I know that.
100%. And I think that's the big point of tonight. It's not for everyone to feel like you, as an entrepreneur, we like the freedom. So our message is not, hey, you have to now punch a clock. No, that's not it at all. But you do need to get structure. You can't go from total structure to no structure. There has to be some flexibility, but you also need to have some rhythm to everything. So that's why the most important thing first is put your life into 4 parts. Like, get an understanding of what are the 4 most important things, and ask yourself, does this really matter? Is this really worth my energy? If it's not, toss it out. Then take each one of those parts and start getting real. Ask yourself the real questions. How many hours am I spending? If you feel with work, you're spending 30 hours on Facebook and your ROI on that, your return on investment is 0. You're spending way too many hours on that. Renita uses Facebook with a purpose. So I see her Facebook Live. So everything, I want everyone to write down purpose. As you're doing these assignments, get clear. What is my purpose? What's my intent with each one of these? So lay out those blocks and then start scheduling. First, start with how many hours you're going to invest each week. It doesn't have to just be what you do in Zen and Jeunesse. Work-wise, whatever you do work-wise, invest in that and get super clear on what really matters. What are the most important things that you need to do to diversify your growth and build from there? With your family, same concept. And this is what a tidbit before I go to third strategy is this. My phone's on silent. I had to get better because Renita's right. My mind gets fixated on things. So I used to, when I hear that ding, and I know a text message came in, I want to go see what that is. So it would take me out of the moment. And then Abby had to like grab me by the shoulder and say, Mark, put your phone on silent.
Yeah.
So my phone is always on silent now. And then when I want to look at my text messages, I do. Now,
well, that's good, Mark.
Yeah. That's a good advice for everyone. If you feel like the phone's controlling you, put it on silent. Just from that perspective, you decide your time from there. And if you miss a call, besides an emergency, like if your family's traveling or something, the reality is, does it really matter? Do you really need to respond that soon? We're creating the culture. And the sooner you respond to a text message, unless someone texts me and says, Mark, I need to talk to you right now, then I'll call them back. But if it's just a conversation, get to it when you can and make that part of your schedule as well. The more dialed in you can get, the more structure you have, what I guarantee you, the more energy you'll be able to protect. Now, that's the second one.
I want to say, don't let their chaos become your chaos. Sometimes that happens really easily in this business because, the roof is on fire because customer service didn't answer, or, something happened with Zen Project 8 where someone, I don't know, there's always things that come up in business, right? But it's funny how I always say when someone's calling you like with a fire hose, like just really like calm yourself before you even respond to that person, because if not, if they're coming out with fire and you're coming out with fire, now it's a frenzy and you think, oh, hell's breaking loose. So I feel like if they're coming out with you fire, sometimes it's good to have a little bit of downtime before you correspond back to them to say, okay, how can I respond back in a way that's not going to amplify this situation, but it's going to help to extinguish the situation to make it better, to resolve it. And I think that is a powerful tool by even shutting your phone off, Mark, because the people in a sense of urgency might be contacting you saying, Mark McDonald, what about this? But because your phone is on silent, you don't hear it. So now 2 hours has passed and you finally check your phone and you're like, oh, that's an easy solution. And you just, in your level-headedness, you text something back. Whereas sometimes when you're in that moment of the fire and they're coming at you, I feel like sometimes we respond the same way. And that's not a good thing in business necessarily when you're a leader.
The problem with text messages is the conversations don't stop. So that's a whole nother webcast we need to do. Emails it's like an email, it's okay. But text messages, people get insulted if you don't text. Like, how does the conversation end? You have to do like an emoji for it to end. So my point is, set up the time so that it's never that easy. Conversations are never as simple as just one thing. That we need to do a webcast on that. So strategy 1, get your life into 4 main quadrants. Okay. Strategy 2, take each quadrant, lay out the hours, and start really diving into your schedule and ask yourself the hard questions. Does this really matter? And work on the hours you're working. And say, if I'm doing 30 hours on work, what am I doing? How am I most productive? What yields the best result for me? Not necessarily what I like, but what yields the best result. And one tidbit before we go to third strategy is this. If you're not doing any videos, if you're not doing any Facebook Lives because you're scared to do that, then spend 4 hours on creativity where you're actually practicing videos to build your confidence. So part of this has to be personal development. And then the third strategy is the common sense one. Find your rhythm and consistently evaluate and adjust your actual schedule. So when I talk about a rhythm, it's, for example, we went camping this weekend. I woke up today out of rhythm because we were camping. I did a lot of lifting, and I woke up a little out of rhythm, and I had to scramble for a little bit, but then I got back into rhythm. So imagine where you feel great. You wake up, you have your, you have your shake or your breakfast, you're feeling great. Maybe you're having your cup of coffee, whatever it is, that rhythm where you feel good. And then you get to your projects, you get to your work, that system you want to find. And then you have to then each week evaluate what's working, what's not working. If you can just follow these 3 simple strategies, 4 parts of your life, get clear on the hours you're spending in each part, schedule them consistently, and then each week, find your rhythm, evaluate what's working, what's not working, and adjust. If you can just do that, and my take is on those 4 parts, find 4 things that you want to do in each one of those parts. So minimize the amount of projects you take on, minimize the amount of obligations you have, get super tight, and then as you have a solid rhythm with those 3 strategies, expand from there. Renita, what's your thoughts on that?
One thing I was just thinking while you're talking, I was thinking a couple things. I was thinking, I think it's important for people when they're building this business very part-time, because a lot of people have full-time jobs that are building this business. Then you really need to get clear with that 5 hours that you're spending a week. You have to say, I'm not just going to, in that 5 hours, just sit and look at my back office and the 2 people I sponsored and just watch my tree and hope it grows. Like, your 5 hours needs to be productive time. It needs to be planting seeds. It needs to be going out there and meeting people. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 of your hours every week is actually attending a new, networking group or Bible study or something that you've never done, just to make contacts. Because some people say to me, Renita, I ran out of my, friend list kind of. I'm like, well, oh my gosh, look around. The world is endless. Like, let's go make some new friends, right? So, don't think when I think of 5 hours of working for a brand new person, it might not just be like grinding, doing the meetings, doing the webinars. They don't have a team established yet. Theirs might be growing in leadership, Mark. A half hour to hour of that might be growing and reading a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, or Mark McDonald's Why Kids Make You Fat, because you got to grow as a leader. But another big part of that might be going out and just networking with people and joining a new, you think, how is a Bible study, or how is a, what's that one thing where they learn to talk? What is that called? Toastmasters.
Yes.
My mom says she wants to join a Toastmasters group. And I said, Mom, that's a great idea. First of all, it's going to help you to speak so that when you do your presentations, you're better. And then it's going to help you to meet new people. Right? So sometimes people think, well, how is that growing your business? Well, it's growing you. And if you're growing you, you're growing your business.
Yeah, and it's also watching, if you have a hard time asking for money and having an objection, watching the webcast we did last week. Yeah. That's all. I love that. It's all about becoming a better version of you, because the more confident you are, the more organized you are, the more direct you are, the more people want to lock arms with you.
Right. One other thing I thought, Mark, is I say yes to a lot. I'm a mom. Like, I have a million things going on. I have a big network in North Dakota that I'm helping out. Recently, I gave up something which was really hard for me, because I feel like I'm not a quitter. Many of you, if you're watching this, you think, I don't want to quit something. But sometimes there needs to be a pruning of your life so that more fruit can be produced, better fruit can be produced. And so I actually had a pruning where I quit teaching an exercise class that I had been doing for 6.5 years for free for a church. I've been doing it 3 times a week. But what happened was I just really started thinking, everybody who's coming to this class knows PFC every 3. They know how to exercise. They probably could teach the class without me if I wouldn't show up. Like I got to that point where they kind of don't even need me anymore, right? So, but yet I'm still doing this. And I'm doing it because I want to give back to my church, and it's my way of like serving our church and serving others. But I have other gifts and talents that I can do to serve my church and serve others. So I took a step back, and for me to quit that, I'm going to tell you, it was very difficult for me to, I cried the day I said, I'm handing the class over to these wonderful girls that are going to take it over for me because they're great leaders. And it was very difficult for me. But since I hung that up, God opened the door of SkyFit. We've got Zen Fuse into Sky Zone now. People are coming in there. They're doing, I mean, it literally went whoosh. And had I not said no to that, my class that I've been doing for 6.5 years, I couldn't have said yes to the other things, which would have meant I was kind of at a stalemate, Mark. I was kind of at a point in my life where I was like, the fruit I was producing, I wasn't seeing much of it anymore. And so sometimes I think it's like that whole, like, you know, Jim Collins concept, good to great, right? Sometimes we need to give up the good so that we can get to the great. And I think as human beings, sometimes that's hard for us because we're creatures of habit. And we don't want to quit on anybody. And I certainly didn't want to quit on anybody, but I felt like I handed it over to some girls that could definitely handle it. And because I chose to do that, because I pruned my tree is now producing more fruit. I feel better. I'm impacting more lives. I actually have more business builders with Zen Project 8. I'm offering more of the program to our entire community in Bismarck because of it. So it literally shifted my life when I chose to say no to something, which some people have a hard time with that.
Yeah, I love that. And that goes with me. We talk about it all the time. You know, I've done a lot of national media through the years. And when we started looking at taking Zen Project 8 international, there's only so much time I had. So I had to start getting smarter with when I wanted to do national media. I'm focused on the tennis channel now. Obviously, I'm still doing so with CNN and HLN, but I couldn't do twice a week shows anymore. So there are a lot of things you have to get smarter at where you're spending your time, because if one project's taking over something else, you got to invest in that, or you're just good at a lot of things. I don't want to be good at a lot of things. I want to be great at a few things. And that's probably, so let's do this. I'm going to do a recap. I'm going to share one bonus tip. You're going to end with a bonus tip, Renita, and then we're going to call it a night. Sound good? So recap. This is everyone's assignment for this week. It's simple. Number one, well, it could be simple for some, not simple for others. Take your life and make it into 4 main quadrants. Okay, so mine, we talked about health, family, lifestyle, work, and then we talked about I went blank, Renita. Give me your 4. Your 4 is faith.
My 4 is faith, family, work, and what was my 4th one, Mark? Faith, family, work, and probably my health.
Yeah, it was your health, and mine was health. This is what happens. I get tired, and sometimes I forget stuff. Got it. So mine was the family / lifestyle. It was work. It was then health, family / lifestyle, and then my health from that perspective. So we had, never mind. You can watch the replay on my 4. Then the second one you have to do is take each one of those parts, and then I got it. It was my health, my work, my family lifestyle, and then my kids' activities. That's the one I forget because I never talk about that. Sorry, guys. And then the second one is you take each one of those components and you have to set your schedule for them. You have to actually break it down. How many hours you're going to do, and then what are you going to do within those hours? And then the third thing is you reevaluate and you stay in rhythm. So once you find the rhythm, you reevaluate each thing, what's working, what's not working. And each week you build upon that. The clearer you get with that, and everything you do, you have to ask yourself, is this providing me purpose? When you can do that, and I'd love everyone to share this when we start doing when you go in the Facebook group, if you're sharing and building it, share some ideas you're doing, how you're growing, how you're building, how you're getting tighter and tighter with your schedule. And then my bonus tip is simple. At Idea World, I was a speaker with Brendon Burchard, great life coach, Brendon Burchard. And he said something that changed how I look at things 2 years ago. He said this. He said, when you wake up, instead of looking at your emails, instead of going on Facebook, he said, don't do anything for the first 2 hours. Focus on what you want to do creativity-wise that day. Spend all your energy from that, whether it's writing a blog, whether it's looking at what your day is going to be, whether it's investing in a video that you're going to do, but be creative for those first 2 hours. Then you can actually start opening up emails. And he said the reason why is once you open up an email, once you open up a text, once you go to Facebook, you're now reacting to people. You're no longer controlling the conversation.
Right.
The most productive time for people is first thing in the morning when you get up. Make that your time. Get clear on that. If you can own those 2 hours, the rest of the day will work so well. That's my bonus tip. You're up, Renita.
My bonus tip is turn off the TV. Like, I just think the TV is such a drain. I mean, unless you're watching something super positive and you're doing a minimal amount of it, it's fine. But I think some people, it is just like their go-to thing. They get home, they turn on the TV, they wake up in the morning and they turn on the TV, Mark, just to hear the background noise of the news. I'm like, the news is negative right now. We can't control what's going on in the world. You know, we can pray about it, but we can't control it. But so I feel like be careful with watching too much TV. I feel like a lot of people waste a lot of time. Well, I once heard a mentor say it's not called television, it's called television. Because when you watch it all the time, it literally kind of sucks the life out of you and drains the energy out of you, unless you're watching something super positive. I much rather would spend my time watching a webinar like this to learn and grow and become better, because it's a form of TV. What's going on here? I mean,
100%.
Yeah, I mean, you're awesome and I'm pretty hilarious. So the bottom line is it's like, and we have a hard time remembering sometimes, but the point is it's a form of TV, but it actually helps you to grow. It encourages you to become better. And I think sometimes if you're watching, I always said, when you watch TV, you notice the people on TV are never watching people on TV. Do you know why? You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're watching someone else's life. Like, let's get in control of our own lives, right? And get in the driver's seat of that and start making a difference in the people that we're around and the communities in which we live. I think that's so much more powerful than just turning it on and kind of sitting there. And granted, some people, that's their real downtime. A movie a week is probably not going to hurt you. But I think when it becomes a daily thing, morning and night, that TV is always ringing. I'm telling you what, you got to change your rhythm. That's not a healthy rhythm, because it's probably not producing great fruit in the tree. It's probably sucking the energy out of you.
That's it. And that will end on that. The biggest thing is whatever it is for you, it's finding out what's giving you purpose and allowing you to be productive. So make this week about your schedule. Make this week about getting clearer on what you're doing and making sure that every step you do, it's about with purpose and intent to be the best that you can be. Guys, we love our community. Thank you for joining us. The replay will be tomorrow on facebook.com/ZenProject8. Make sure you watch it again. Make sure you implement the assignments. We'll have a great topic for you again next Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern time. And most important, thank you for leading by example and being the best that you can be, because together we are changing how people in this world look at food, and we're ending the dieting madness, and we're inspiring people to be their very best. Tons of love. Thanks, everyone.
Adios.